Ladies and gentlemen, stop telling everybody your problems. You think you're venting. You think you're just getting it off your chest. But what you're doing is handing your destiny over to people who can't carry it. Some folks aren't your therapists. They're spectators. Some folks don't want you healed. They want you stuck so they feel better about their own brokenness. You're sharing your storm with people who can't swim. Hear me. Not everybody is meant to know your pain. Some people don't pray for you. They prey on you. Not everyone clapping is cheering. Some are just marking the moment you stumbled. Don't you understand? There's a difference between exposure and expression. There's a difference between confession and collapse. God didn't bring you through that valley for it to become your identity. He brought you through it so you could become a witness, not a whiner. So close your mouth to the crowd and open your heart to the throne. If you're always talking about the problem, you'll never step into the promise. You've got to stop rehearsing your pain and start releasing your praise.
Lifting your praise.
Tell your soul, I will not bleed on people who didn't cut me. I will not leak what I should have surrendered. There comes a time in life when you realize not everyone around you is meant to carry your pain. Not everyone can handle the weight of your truth. And as much as we want to be open and honest, and as much as we want to feel heard and understood, we must also be wise, because not everybody that listens really hears, and not everybody that hears really cares. Many of us grow up being told that it's good to talk things out. And yes, in the right setting with the right people, that can bring healing. But if you're not careful, you'll start handing out pieces of your heart to people who don't even know what to do with it. You'll end up explaining your pain to people who never plan to help you carry it. You'll pour your emotions into people who only came to watch you bleed, not bandage your wounds. You may think that opening up to people makes the load lighter, but sometimes it does the opposite. Sometimes it gives your pain more room to live, more space to grow. You walk away thinking you've released it, but instead you've only repeated it. You've given it more air, more voice, more power. The truth is, there are people in your life who only want to hear your problems so they can repeat them. They're not listening with love, they're listening with curiosity. They're not moved by your tears, they're entertained by your trouble. They don't want to help you, they just want something to talk about. And once they've gotten what they want, they disappear. Other times, the people we talk to may not be malicious. They're not mature enough to handle our truth. They haven't gone through what we've been through. They haven't faced what we faced. And when you try to explain your struggle, they look at you with blank eyes or offer empty words. It's not that they're cruel. It's just that they don't get it. They don't have the capacity to hold what you're carrying. And when that happens, it can leave you feeling even more alone than before you spoke. Because there's nothing worse than opening your heart and getting silence in return. There's nothing worse than sharing your pain and getting a shrug. There's nothing worse than being vulnerable and being dismissed. That's why you have to be careful. That's why you have to be wise. You can't let everyone into your sacred space. You can't give everyone access to your soul. Your struggle is real. Your pain is deep. Your journey is holy. But don't let just anyone touch it. Sometimes the best thing you can do is talk to God. He's not going to gossip. He's not going to judge. He's not going to get tired of hearing the same story over and over. He already knows, and yet he still listens. He sees it all. And he still stays. There are moments when silence is stronger than speech. There are days when it's better to sit with your feelings and pray than to share them with someone who can't handle your truth. You don't need validation from people to heal. You don't need a crowd to comfort you. What you need is truth, peace, and the strength to keep moving. And sometimes that strength comes in silence. There is power in not telling everybody everything. There is wisdom in keeping some things between you and God, not because you're ashamed, not because you're hiding, but because you're protecting what's sacred. You're protecting your peace. You don't owe everyone your story. You don't have to explain your every emotion. You don't need to convince others to understand you. The people who are truly for you will see you, even when you're quiet. They'll feel your pain without you having to shout it. Tell, and they will love you not because they understand everything, but because they care enough to stay. And even when nobody understands, know this. You are still strong. You are still valuable. You are still worthy. You don't have to tell everyone about your pain for your pain to be real. You don't have to share every struggle to make it valid. Some battles are meant to be fought in private, so your victory can be seen in public. Sometimes the breakthrough comes after the battle nobody knew you were fighting. Sometimes the glory shows up in your life after a season of silence. And when that happens, you'll be able to smile. Not because you told everyone, but because you trusted God through it. Don't waste your strength trying to explain yourself to people who were never supposed to be in your story. Don't pour your energy into conversations that leave you more broken than before. And don't confuse venting with healing. Talking about something over and over doesn't always mean you're letting it go. Sometimes it means you're letting it stay. Your healing doesn't require an audience. Your growth doesn't need applause. Let your peace speak louder than your problems. Let your life reflect your strength, not your suffering. You are not weak for keeping quiet. You are not cold for setting boundaries. You are not fake for smiling through pain. You are wise, you are strong, and you are growing. So today, choose your words carefully. Choose your listeners wisely. And remember, not everyone is meant to know your struggles. Some things are too sacred for public display. Some lessons are meant to be learned in silence. And some seasons are best walked with God alone, but alone. Sometimes when you're going through something hard, you look around for people to talk to, hoping someone will listen, understand, or at least offer a little comfort. You expect support, maybe even a prayer, a word of hope, or a reminder that you're not alone. But the truth is, not everyone who listens to your problems is listening because they care. Not everyone who asks, "Are you okay?" really wants you to be okay. There are people in this world who don't pray for you. They prey on you. They don't come to build you up. They come to watch you break. They show interest, but deep down, they're only gathering information. They're not looking to help. They're not looking to understand. They're looking to use your pain as fuel for their own ego, gossip, or drama. And once they get what they want, they disappear. You may think you found a safe place to talk. You may think you're opening up to a friend. But before long, your business is everywhere. Your weakness is a joke at someone else's table. Your struggle is a story being passed around like entertainment. And the worst part is, it came from someone you trusted. It hurts. It hurts because you never expected it. You didn't see it coming. You weren't trying to put on a show. You were just trying to breathe. Just trying to survive. Just trying to heal. And somehow someone took your pain and turned it into poison. Some people don't want to see you get better. They don't want to see you rise. Because if you rise, they lose what they love about your fall. They like seeing you down because it makes them feel up. They like knowing you're struggling because it makes their own life seem less messy. They feed off your pain. It becomes their source of power. Not everyone who smiles is a friend. Not everyone who hugs you means it. Not everyone who offers a listening ear is doing it out of love. You must be careful. You must be wise. Not paranoid, not bitter, but aware. There are people who will use your story to make themselves look good. They'll say they're praying for you just to seem spiritual, but behind your back, they're laughing at your tears. They'll call you their sister or they're a brother. But when your name comes up in a conversation, they join in the gossip without a second thought. They love knowing the details of your heartbreak, your failure, your setbacks. Because the more broken you are, the more they feel better about their own lives. They want to know how bad things are for you so they can feel a little more comfortable with how bad things are for them. That's not love. That's not friendship. That's not support. That's preying on your pain. You have to guard your heart. You have to protect your peace. That doesn't mean you stop trusting everyone or shut the whole world out. It means you become more careful about who you let into your most private spaces. Everyone doesn't deserve access to your wounds. Everyone doesn't qualify to hear your heart. Your pain is not public property. Your struggle is not a community project. It is your journey. It is your story. And not everyone has earned the right to walk beside you in it. Oh. Some people will try to get close to you only when you're broken because they know they couldn't reach you when you were strong. They couldn't handle your light, your confidence, your growth. So they wait until you're in a dark place and then they come close. Not to help, but to keep you in that darkness. That's why you have to know the difference between someone who truly cares and someone who is just curious. Someone who is just curious. Someone who is sincere and someone who is sneaky. Someone who is sent by God and someone who is just nosy. Real love doesn't need all the details to show support. Real friendship doesn't need to dig through your wounds to offer kindness. A real prayer warrior doesn't need the full story to go to God on your behalf. They don't ask to be filled with information. They ask to be filled with compassion. So when people say they're praying for you, watch what they do after they say it. Do they comfort you or do they continue to dig for more dirt? Do they speak life or do they speak rumors? Do they cover you or do they uncover you? You'll know them by their fruit. You'll know them by their silence when your name is under attack. You'll know them by their loyalty when you're not around. You'll know them by the peace you feel in their presence or the heaviness you feel when they enter the room. Your healing is too important to be put in the hands of those who don't really care. Your future is too valuable to be shared with people who want to use your past against you. Your story is too sacred to be thrown in the middle of people who only want to gossip and gain. So choose your circle wisely. Talk to people who lift you up, not those who tear you down when you're not looking. Surround yourself with those who speak blessings, not burdens. Chubby. And when you don't know who to talk to God. He listens, he understands, and he will never use your pain to shame you. He'll use it to shape you. You're not alone even if it feels that way. You're not foolish for trusting. It just means your heart is big. But now it's time to grow. It's time to learn. It's time to recognize who's really for you and who just wants something from you. Because when you stop letting the wrong people feed off your brokenness, you start to find peace. You start to breathe again. You begin to heal in ways you never thought possible. Some people pray, some people pray. Know the difference and act accordingly. There's something beautiful about being open. There's something healing about sharing your heart. We all carry things inside. Pain, struggles, fears, memories, regrets. And sometimes all we want is to let it out. We want someone to understand us, to see the weight we're carrying, and to say, I see you and I'm here. That's what vulnerability is. It's when you stop pretending and let someone see the real you. It's when you stop hiding and start healing. But as beautiful as it is, vulnerability isn't something you can give to just anyone. It takes wisdom. There are moments in life when your heart feels full of emotions you can't explain. You want to cry, shout, talk, or even sit in silence, hoping someone will just get it. And when those moments come, it feels like the most natural thing to turn to someone, anyone, and open up. But not every ear is safe. Not every heart is trustworthy. Not every person you open up to will treat your story with care. Being vulnerable doesn't mean you have to tell everyone everything. It doesn't mean you have to explain every hurt, every mistake, every thought that crosses your mind. It simply means you are real. It means you are honest with yourself and with others. But here's the thing, even honesty needs wisdom. Even truth must be handled carefully. Because when you give someone access to your heart, you're trusting them with something sacred. And if they don't know how to handle it, they can damage it, even without meaning to. There are people who will ask how you are, but only out of habit. They're not looking for the real answer. If you tell them too much, they'll get uncomfortable, or worse, they'll use your words against you later. There are people who will seem kind on the outside but have no space in their hearts for your pain. They'll listen to your story only to repeat it later. They'll nod while you talk, but they're not really listening. And after you walk away, you'll feel worse, not better. Because you gave something personal to someone who wasn't ready to carry it. That's why it's so important to be wise with your vulnerability. You don't have to be fake. You don't have to pretend. But you do need to be careful. You need to ask yourself, is this person safe? Do they care? Do they have the maturity and love to handle this piece of my heart? Because not everyone can. And that's okay. It doesn't make them bad. It just means they're not the right one for that moment, that story, or that piece of your journey. Wisdom means knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. It means knowing who deserves the truth and who isn't ready for it. It means knowing when to open up and when to guard your heart. Not because you're hiding, but because you're healing. Not because you're ashamed, but because you understand the value of your story. When you're vulnerable with the right people, it can change everything. They listen. They support. They remind you that you're not alone. They help you see that even in your mess, you're still worthy. But when you're vulnerable with the wrong people, it can wound you deeper. It can make you question your worth, your strength, and even your ability to trust again. You don't have to share your journey with everyone. You don't have to explain your past to every person who walks into your life. Some things are between you and God. Some moments are meant for quiet reflection, not public display. You can still be real and still be private. You can still be strong and still be selective. It takes strength to be vulnerable. It takes courage to be real. But it also takes wisdom to know when and how to do it. Do it. You must learn to listen to that quiet voice inside, the one that says, not now, or not this person, or it's time to speak. That voice is there to guide you, to protect you, to help you walk through life with both an open heart and a guarded spirit. Some people confuse vulnerability with weakness, but it's not weakness at all. In fact, it's one of the strongest things you can do when done with wisdom. Vulnerability says, I've been hurt, but I'm still here. It says, I'm not perfect, but I'm still valuable. It says, I've fallen, but I'm getting back up. That's not weak. That's powerful. But again, it must be done wisely. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you have to say it out loud right away. Just because you're going through something doesn't mean the world needs to know. Sometimes the best healing happens in silence, in solitude, in prayer, and in quiet conversations with people who truly care. When you choose to be vulnerable, choose with wisdom. Look for people who show consistency. Look for people who don't just listen, but listen with compassion. Look for people who won't try to fix you, but will simply sit with you in your struggle. These are the ones who deserve access to your deeper truths. And if you haven't found those people yet, don't worry, you're not alone. You can still be vulnerable with God, with yourself, and with the right people when they come. Don't rush to be understood. Don't chase to be heard. Trust that the right ears will hear you, the right hearts will see you, and the right moments will come. Until then, walk in wisdom. Walk with peace. Protect your story. Protect your heart. And remember, vulnerability is not something you owe to anyone. It is a gift. A powerful, beautiful, healing gift. And like any gift, it should be given with care. Your heart is precious. Your story matters. And your healing journey deserves wisdom. Psalm anatem. Pain comes to all of us. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, or what you believe, pain visits every life. It might come through loss, disappointment, betrayal, failure, heartbreak, or something you never saw coming. One moment life feels normal, and the next, everything changes. And in that moment, it's easy to feel like the pain is going to last forever. It's easy to feel like you've lost not just a moment, but your whole self. But let me tell you something important. Pain is a place you pass through, not the person you are. It is something you experience, not something you become. Just because you went through something painful does not mean pain gets to define you. You are not your suffering. You are not your sorrow. You are not the worst day of your life. When we hurt, it's easy to let the pain start speaking for us. It starts telling lies. It tells you that you're broken beyond repair, that you're unlovable, that you're a failure, that life will never get better. But those are lies that come from staying too long in the wrong place. Pain may stop by, but you don't have to build a house there. You may have been through some hard things you haven't told anyone, things you're still trying to understand yourself. But the fact that you are still here means that pain didn't win. Maybe it slowed you down. Maybe it shook your confidence. Maybe it made you cry, but it didn't take you out. And if it didn't take you out, then it doesn't get to name you. Too often, we take what we went through and wear it like a label. We say, I'm broken, I'm depressed, I'm angry, I'm lost. And while it's okay to feel those things, it's not okay to live inside them forever. You are allowed to feel, but you are not meant to stay stuck. Pain is real, but it's not permanent. It's a valley, not a destination. It's part of your story, not the title of your life. We all walk through painful seasons. Some are short, and some seem to stretch on for years. Yeah. And while you're walking through it, it feels like there's no way out. But just because you can't see the end right now doesn't mean there isn't one. Healing doesn't always happen in an instant. Sometimes it's slow. Sometimes it takes time. But time doesn't mean failure. It means growth. It means growth. It means progress. It means you're learning how to live beyond the pain. There's nothing weak about feeling pain, and there's nothing shameful about struggling through it. In fact, it takes strength to keep going when everything hurts. It takes strength to get out of bed when your heart is heavy. It takes strength to smile when you feel like crying. It takes strength to say, I'm not okay, but I'm not giving up. teaching us things we couldn't have learned any other way. It shows us who we really are and reveals what matters most. It reminds us that life is fragile and love is precious. It breaks us open so something new can grow. But even though pain teaches us, we are not meant to live under its shadow forever. You don't have to let what happened define who you are. You are more than what you lost. You are more than who hurt you. You are more than the mistakes you made. You are more than the doors that closed. You are more than the silent nights and the loud thoughts. You are more than the tears you cried in secret. You are more. You were created with purpose. You have value that no pain can take away. Even when it feels like everything is falling apart, something inside you is still holding on. And that something is stronger than the pain. It's the part of you that believes in better. It's the part that keeps showing up even when your hope is running low. Sometimes the hardest part of healing is letting go of the identity we formed in the middle of the pain. We get used to carrying the sadness, the fear, the bitterness like it's part of who we are. But healing asks us to lay those things down. Healing asks us to say, that was my past, but it's not my name. It asks us to believe we are allowed to move forward even if we still have scars. It asks us to believe that peace is possible. You may carry the memory of the pain. You may still feel it from time to time, but that doesn't mean you're not healing. That doesn't mean you're not growing. It just means you're human. You can carry the memory without carrying the identity. You can learn from it without living in it. Pain is a season, not your soul. It's a chapter, not your character. It's a storm, not your story's ending. And every storm eventually runs out of rain. So if you're walking through pain right now, take heart. It will not always feel this heavy. The night will not always be this dark. Keep walking. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. Keep choosing to believe in healing even when you don't feel it yet. And when you feel like you've been in pain for too long, remind yourself, I am passing through this. I am not staying here. This is not where I build my home. I will not let this define me. I will not let this be the end of me. You are not your pain. You are not your trauma. You are not your grief. You are not your failure. You are not the worst thing that ever happened to you. You are strong. You are resilient. You are worthy of peace, love, and healing. Pain may have shaped you for a moment, but it doesn't get to own your future. Your identity is not in your hurt. It's in your hope. It's in your cope. It's in your courage. It's in your comeback. So stand tall, even with tears in your eyes. Keep going, even if your steps are slow. Because this place, this painful place, is not where your story ends. You're just passing through. Life has a way of hitting us hard sometimes. You can be doing everything right and still find yourself in a place you didn't expect. Maybe it's a loss you didn't see coming, a betrayal you never thought would happen, or a season that's gone on far too long. When life gets heavy, the natural thing to do is feel sorry for ourselves. We feel forgotten. We feel overlooked. We feel tired, and we want someone, anyone, to notice our pain. And sometimes pity feels like comfort. It feels like a warm blanket on a cold day. But pity can also become a trap. Pity says, look at what I've lost. Pity says, why me? Pity looks inward and stays stuck. But praise looks up. Praise says, even now, God is still good. Praise says, He may not have everything I want, but I still have breath in my body. Praise says, this season hurts, but it won't last forever. When we choose praise over pity, we're not ignoring our problems, but rising above them. Oh, rising above them. We're making a decision to shift our focus from pain to promise, from brokenness to hope. There's something powerful about praise. It's not just singing a song or saying thank you when things are good. True praise is born in the middle of the struggle. It comes when you don't feel like praising. It rises from the middle of the tears, the confusion, the heartache. And that kind of praise that comes from the pit is the kind that moves mountains. It's the kind that strengthens your spirit. It's the kind that makes the enemy nervous because it means you haven't given up. Pity keeps you looking back. Praise helps you move forward. Pity keeps you asking questions that don't have answers. Praise gives you peace in the middle of the unknown. Pity says, nobody sees me. Praise says, God still sees me. Pity makes you feel like a victim. Praise reminds you that you're victorious, even in your weakness. You don't have to deny the pain to choose praise. You don't have to pretend you're okay. In fact, some of the strongest praise comes with tears still in your eyes. It comes with a trembling voice and a broken heart. But it's still praise. It still counts. It still matters. Choosing praise over pity is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about holding on to hope when everything inside you wants to let go. It's about saying, I may be hurting, but I still believe there's purpose in this. It's about saying, I may be confused, but I know God hasn't forgotten me. It's about trusting that something beautiful can still grow out of the ashes. Sometimes we think we need to wait until things get better before we praise. We think we'll be thankful once we get the job, once the relationship is restored, once we feel better, once the storm passes. But praise is most powerful before the breakthrough. It's when you praise in the middle of the storm that you start to rise above it. It's when you worship in the waiting that your strength is renewed. There's something about praise that changes the atmosphere, not just around you, but inside you. You can be in the same room, facing the same situation, but when you shift from pity to praise, your heart begins to change. You stop focusing on what you lack and start noticing what you still have. You stop comparing yourself to others and start thanking God for your own journey. Praise opens your eyes to blessings you couldn't see before. You realize even in your struggle, you're still standing. Even in your loss, you're still breathing. Even in your loneliness, you're still loved. And when you start to praise, you begin to feel stronger, not because the problem disappeared, but because you remembered you're not facing it alone. Pity wants to keep you stuck in the past. It wants to keep reminding you of who left, what went wrong, what didn't happen. Praise points you forward. Praise says, our the best is still ahead. Praise says, this pain has a purpose. Praise says, I'm growing even in the darkness. And when you can praise in pain, you step into a power that pity could never give you. People may leave, plans may fall apart, the answers you hope for may not come the way you imagine, but God remains. His love remains, His promises remain, and because of that, you can still praise. You can praise through the silence, you can praise through the waiting, you can praise when you don't have the words. Because praise is more than words, it's a posture of the heart. You might be thinking, but I've lost so much. And yes, you have. But look at what you still have. You still have life. You still have purpose. You still have purpose. You still have a future. And even if everything else seems unsure, you still have a reason to believe that things can get better. Praise doesn't require a perfect life. It doesn't need everything to be figured out. It just needs a willing heart. A heart that says, I won't let this season define me. A heart that says, I refuse to stay in self-pity when I can rise in gratitude. A heart that says, I'm hurting, but I still trust. If you stay in pity too long, it will wear you down. It will make you bitter. It will make you give up. But praise builds you up. Praise gives you strength. Quotes on. Praise makes room for peace in the middle of chaos. Praise lifts your eyes so you can see beyond your pain and into your purpose. So today, make the choice. Even if it's a quiet whisper. Even if it's just a small thank you. Even if all you can do is lift your hands with tears on your face. Let that be your praise. Let that be your victory. Because every time you choose praise over pity, you are choosing life. You are choosing hope. You are choosing freedom. And little by little, your heart will begin to heal. Your spirit will begin to rise. And your life will begin to shift. Not because the pain vanished, but because your praise gave you power to walk through it with grace, with faith, and with strength. Sometimes the strongest people are not the loudest in the room. They are not the ones making noise, showing off, or demanding attention. They are the ones who keep going quietly, even when everything around them is falling apart. They are the ones who fight silent battles, cry behind closed doors, and still get up every morning with the courage to face another day. That is quiet strength. And that kind of strength is powerful. That kind of strength releases breakthrough. It doesn't need to prove anything. It doesn't need to be seen. It just shows up. Quiet strength is steady. It's patient. It waits when others rush. It stands when others fall. It keeps believing when others give up. It's not weak just because it's soft. In fact, quiet strength may be the strongest kind there is because it doesn't rely on noise. It relies on faith. There's something about a person who keeps trusting in silence. Something about a person who doesn't complain, even though they have every reason to. Something about a person who chooses peace over panic, stillness over stress, prayer over panic. That kind of strength is built deep. It's not flashy. It's not loud, but it is solid. It is rooted. And that kind of strength doesn't just survive the storm. It calls the breakthrough to come. Many times in life, we think strength means fighting hard, yelling louder, or pushing our way forward. But some of the greatest breakthroughs come when we stop trying to force things and start resting in quiet trust. It's in the stillness that we hear the answers. It's in the waiting that we are refined. It's in the silence that God does his deepest work in us. Sometimes you feel like you're not making progress because you're not shouting, moving fast, or showing your fight. But there's power in stillness. There's power in just staying faithful. In just showing up, in holding on, in saying, I'm still here. That quiet, persistent strength does something in the spirit. It speaks louder than words ever could. It tells the storm, you won't break me. It tells the problem, you won't win. It tells the pain, you may slow me down, but you won't stop me. Quiet strength is what you see in the person who has every reason to be bitter, but they choose to be kind. It's in the person who lost everything, but still finds something to be grateful for. Full. Don't let pain name you, and don't let pity hold you. There is power in your quiet strength. There is healing in your praise. There is breakthrough waiting for your faith. You don't need to be loud to be strong. You don't need to be seen to be valuable. You don't need to be understood by everyone to be chosen by God. What you carry inside, your hope, your endurance, your faith, your fire, that's what makes you unshakable. So hold your peace, guard your spirit, keep your circle small and your prayer life strong. Let your story unfold in God's timing. And when the world asks how you made it through, you won't have to say a word. Your life will speak for you. Your strength will speak for you. Your survival will be your testimony. And when the breakthrough comes, and you'll know it wasn't because you shouted, begged, or chased approval. It was because you stood in quiet strength, walked in wisdom, trusted God, and chose praise over pity. So keep going, keep believing, keep becoming. Your silence has power. Your struggle has purpose. And your breakthrough is closer than you think. Amen.